Watchdog reveals that dozens of emails that went through Clinton's private server were not included in the disclosures turned over to the State Department last year. Public records lawsuits, including many brought by the group Judicial Watch, have raised at least 160 emails. One email led to the revelation that Clinton asked her personal aide, Uma Abedin, how her records were being maintained. And in a deposition released yesterday, Abedin said that Clinton did not want the State Department emails that she sent and received on her private server to be accessible to anybody.
Mark, what's the bottom line in this?
You know, we still don't really know what's going on with the investigation. They haven't interviewed.
Bill Clinton does.
Well, he might have gotten a briefing.
He got a briefing from Loretta Lynch.
They probably didn't discuss the case, but it wasn't a good idea to meet. We don't know what they're doing. They haven't interviewed her yet, as far as we know. And they've turned over a lot of rocks. So I still don't see what crime they'd indict her for, but you've got not just the FBI investigation, but a lot of these civil cases going on, and it's all kind of still out there, percolating.
Whether or not she's indicted, though, if you look at her honest and trustworthy numbers, there's a new Fox poll has her at 30% honest and trustworthy. It's stories like this that Democrats dismiss and say are witch hunts and everything else that erode at your honest and trustworthy. I mean, whether or not it was illegal, whether or not she's indicted, people look at that not only in having her own server, but the way she's handled it semantically and said, well, it was allowed, they weren't marked confidential. All these things just put up a cloud of suspicion.
And Mike, even on the NBC poll that had the race closer than the ABC poll, I think like by 15 percentage points, Americans found Donald Trump more honest and straightforward than Hillary Clinton. That's staggering, and it's happening because these email stories, as you said, Democrats have been dismissing, and it doesn't matter.
She is arguably the luckiest Democratic candidate for president in the history of the Democratic Party, running against Donald Trump. That's her ace card in the hole. Come middle October, late October, I mean, we're going to be sitting there in a country where there are many, many people out there, married, whatever, 2 kids, 3 kids, whatever, thinking, you know, I've got a kid, a junior in high school. I hope the kid doesn't get into a really expensive college, because I want the kid to go to the state school so I can afford the tuition. I haven't had a real raise in 12 years. I don't care about the emails. Who's going to take care of me economically better? Which of these candidates is going to be better? That's going to happen.
Well, it's a good thing, like, you know, if you look at the big picture of the situation with Hillary Clinton, you've got to have an attorney general who's right down there,
absolutely,
fair, kind of like, doesn't look
sort of an Elliott Ness
type. Word that comes to mind. It's important, you know?
It's critical.
Right. So this morning there are questions about what could have been discussed during a private meeting between former President Bill Clinton.
Mike's laughing. I mean, you can't make this up.
And Attorney General Loretta Lynch yesterday?
You can't make this up.
No. I'm sorry, it happened on Tuesday. The face-to-face claim came as the Justice Department investigates Hillary's use of a private email server as Secretary of State. The Attorney General says the meeting with the former president was unplanned, and that she and Bill Clinton never discussed the email investigation. We're told the two just happened to be at the Phoenix airport at the same time when the former president boarded her plane.
What's the word, Joe? Optics?
Boy, this is beyond optics. This is unbelievable. This is
the good news is it gives Rush Limbaugh material for 3 hours today. It gives him a lot to talk about.
He's not going to have to research
to specifically sit down and meet with her and talk about.
She's the Democratic Attorney General. He's a former Democratic president. Perfectly reasonable to talk, except under these circumstances.
There's no way you let him come on your
plane
under these
circumstances
and talk privately. There is no way.
No, because of the question that Mark posed a few minutes ago. We don't know what's going on with the investigation yet. We just don't know.
Yeah, and it's her decision, you know. I mean, she shouldn't have let him on the plane. He shouldn't have wanted to get on the plane. I understand they're friends. They have a lot to talk about.
No.
You know.
No.
It's a great, exciting thing. The 2 private planes, the serendipity. Just
Willie. So they're both at the Phoenix airport, separate planes. He hears that she's about to arrive. She's doing something about community policing in Phoenix. he holds his
I love
plane and says, I need to go
community
visit
policing.
with the Attorney General. And he did. The report they give is that he wanted to talk to her about community policing and what's happening.
Of course he did.
What's happening in Phoenix. So he held his plane to go talk to her about that. Now, that shouldn't have happened on either side. I think Attorney General Lynch has shown herself to be a pretty solid Attorney General at this point, so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that she won't be corrupted by one conversation with Bill Clinton, but it shouldn't have happened.
Do you really think they were talking about community?
No, I don't.
It goes back to that when she wanted to have her private server. I don't understand how it could possibly be that no one traveling with either the Attorney General or the former president wouldn't have said, this is a bad idea.
You can't have a private
I
server.
agree.
You can't do that.
yeah.
It's not allowed.
Even in my little world in a congressional office, if I ever suggested anything along those lines, I would have 12 people jumping up yelling at me.
Bad
saying,
idea. Congressman, don't do it.
Bad idea. Stay away. And there were several times, you know, and that's the question. Where? First of all, both these two people showed the most extraordinarily bad judgment. And where was their staff?
This is on DOJ. Though.
Where
This
was?
is on
Yeah.
Justice.
Who was on the plane with Lynch to say you cannot do this?
I don't think she needs anyone to tell her that it's not a good idea. This is so obvious, right? I mean, and they didn't talk about it?
I bet you they didn't talk about it.
Come on, stop.
I bet you they
Everybody
didn't.
stop. Okay, well, this is why this is never going to be a problem for Hillary Clinton. People are too afraid to talk about the truth and the fact that this was wrong from the get-go. And it wasn't allowed, as she says. It just wasn't.
I agree with that, and I agree she shouldn't have gotten on the plane, but